Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Celestial Journey. So, it's been a little bit since the last recording. I went ahead and did a little bit of work around the base, and did get some things sorted out. So a lot of this clutter that was in our way here is now gone. Right now it's just dumped into some of these chests for now, and that way as I add things it'll sort it out and take care of everything. I did kind of start sprucing this little area up a little bit, so we kind of have like this little shed building back here, and that doesn't go anywhere yet. If we come around, I did add in over here another little storage area. This has a lot of things like rails, conduits, that sort of thing over here, which is connected up to the Corporeal network. A little pathway here that comes out. You can see I've done some work up in there. And started working on where this river is going to kind of cut through. Started working on that a little bit. And then lastly, I have over here, and by the way, you'll notice I occasionally get like speed 2. That's because of the weedwood chip paths. I think I've dealt with the frame rate issue and fixed that. And then back in here we have a little cave section with a scapus door that leads to our portals, our little portal collection area. We're going to be working in this room a little bit more later on. This is actually going to tie into our rail system, which we're going to be picking back up with before too long, because we need to start running more rails to get us around the base quicker and all that fun stuff. So anyways, today what we're going to be working on is automating spreaders, making this whole process a whole lot easier. Of course, we've already automated vitriol. Of course, Prentice Blood Orb isn't something that we're going to automate. The system's going to have that. So where we need to start is with Eden arrows, I assume. Now, sticks and feathers, of course, they're mob drops. We don't have to worry about these because of the fact that we will have chickens running. Probably through a spawner due to the amount of feathers that we're actually going to need. Sticks, of course, coming from witches, so we don't really need to automate those either. It wouldn't be a problem to automate them with planks, but we have so many of them from witches, and we're going to be running so many witches coming up. So, what we're going to do... Aha! I was wondering, my crafting crate wasn't coming through, and I just realized I didn't even set this up. I was thinking that was a frame trim that was right there, and I'm going to have to change it over for a frame trim. To actually get the system connected. So my bad. I was like, crafting crate, come here. And it's like, nope, there's no crafting crates in the system. It's like, oh, okay. Anyways, what we're going to do, I actually should probably go ahead and grab probably all of these, in fact. I'm actually just going to go ahead and grab like a general mix of our Corporeal stuff. And I'm sure I'm going to need some more stuff before it's all said and done with. But what we're going to do to automate this, let's go ahead and pull up Corporeal, and this is when we start getting into the fun parts of Corporeal. We're going to need to get ourselves a Corporeal Interceptor for starters. We'll go ahead, there's us 3 Corporeal Interceptors. And then I'm also going to want Corporeal Funnels also. And I'm going to get a few of these. Let me get a bit of cobblestone. By the way, cobble doesn't work. I was just testing it. I don't know what I'm doing there. Let me get 8 dispensers, and we'll go ahead and get 8 Corporeal funnels. Yeah, I'm going to need to make more Corporeal sparks. That's fine. I'll cut here in a minute and make some more of those. And then I'm also going to want some Corporeal retainers as well. I've only got 4 sparks, but I've got 3 interceptors. Let me get... let me go ahead and get 3 Corporeal retainers. That should be good for a minute. Now, in addition to this, we're also going to get ourselves a... well, we're going to need to get ourselves a bit of crafting placeholders. And by a bit, I mean actually quite a few of these. So let me just go ahead and get a few crafting tables. There we go. There's 5 stacks of those. That should do us for a minute. Now, the first one I'm going to be making is just a 1x1 pattern. Let me get a piece of redstone. and we'll go ahead and just teach it, or make ourselves just a 1x1 crafting placeholder. And then I'm also going to want a 1x3 as well. So let's go ahead and grab that. And then let me get an Eden Soul. Well, yeah, this will be good. Well, let's see. How many souls are there in total? There are 5. And I'm sure that we're going to need these a bit throughout the pack for different things. Yeah, it looks like all of these are going to be used extensively for other things. So we might as well go ahead and automate all 5, or set up automation for all 5 of these at once. And I tell you what, I was doing some thinking, and I think we're going to treat this as a stock recipe instead of crafting on demand for these. And that's just because there's really, I mean, there's a couple things that we'll use later on for these in the soul form, but for the most part we're going to be using the fragment form for most everything. So I think I'd rather have them as fragments. And so we're going to set up a crystal cube area right over here, kind of like our table that's over there. And for this, we're going to place our red string comparators down just right here. And then pretty much the same thing as before. Let me grab this. And we're going to say that our crafty crate's going to be sitting right back here. So we can see it. You know, it's going to be right behind the table. And then, of course, the items are going to drop down to here. Yeah, and I think what we'll do, we'll have, yeah, eventually it's going to come out to here. It's going to be 5 souls in total, but we're only doing 2 for right now. That's really all that I have the materials for at the moment. And then what we're going to do, let me get, so do we want to use Conduit for this, or, yeah, I think what we're going to do, let's get a mini chest, and so this stuff will all be hidden. You'll just see the crafty crate crafting and dropping the stuff. I'll have to get a soul Magnolia over here. Soul Magnolias aren't too big of a rush, though, because we don't have a ring of magnetization, and it's really not generally something that I worry too much about. But anyways, what we're going to do, and this could, technically this could be set up anywhere as long as it's within range of our Corporeal network. And let me go ahead and just do, whoops, that and that. And let me get our Eden fragments and our wildwood fragments. And we'll just slot those in. This is a little bit different than I was originally planning, but... And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a Corporeal funnel on top of this. And then you don't technically have to break that block, but we're going to put a Corporeal spark there and an item frame on the front of this funnel. Or actually, so that we can see the funnel. I actually like the way that they look. Let's do the item frame on the back side of it, so we can actually see the funnel there. And we will put the Eden Soul right up there. This will kind of be like an introduction to funnels, but we're going to do a little bit more elaborate stuff right after this one. I just want to stock with a combination of conduits and corporeal funnels. So the way that we're going to be doing this is we're going to put an output routing node system. And we're going to have a mini chest. This mini chest is going to be set up, say, right here. Yeah, this should be good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put output node here, output node here, and then eventually we'll have output node here, here, and then probably underneath, maybe. Just basically using 5 sides of this for the 5 different souls that we're going to have. And then what we're going to do, the east side on here, we are going to put, let me grab that and that. We're going to say the east side, precise filter, Eden Soul. And then over here, south side, precise filter, Wildwood Soul. And let's go ahead and set this to, say, 16. So basically it's going to go 16 over what we set the limits to, and then it should be good to go. Oh, but that's going to do 1. Let me do, no, this will work, actually. Let's put this comparator over on this side. So we'll have comparator reads there, comparator, and then, you know, these will be more red string. And then we'll do another comparator system that comes out on this side. This will eventually be a floor, so. And then we'll have this comparator that reads out the back. I think is how I want to do it. And then we'll just do our potentiometer. And we'll say 2 stacks. Oh, but that's gonna, here, 1 second. Let me actually back this up. So everything's set back up. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna run out that cable to there. And then we'll do, over here, we'll do 2 stacks on this one as well. And we can actually run a bit of this out as redstone, because we're going to have plenty of signal to run it over, so we'll do like that. And then, now that that's in place, the other thing we have to do before we start it up is we have to put some kind of a collection system for the crafty crate. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to set up a hopper that sits underneath it. So we'll put the hopper setting right here. That. And then let's get a input node that's going to input the items from this. And we'll just have this setting, I think, do potentiometers send their items upwards? I guess we're going to find out. Never actually tried to have anything connected upwards like that, so we shall see. And we'll just connect this over to this master routing node. And we're going to take our 1x1 crafting pattern and we're just going to put that into our crafty crate. So it's going to tell it that it's always going to only take 1 item, because normally a crafty crate you either have to fill up the available items with it, and that's where you can use crafting placeholders to fill in blank items. Of course, if you don't have a pattern for that. Or the other option is redstone, maybe? I think it's just a redstone or Wand of the Forest. I can't remember which one. Wand of the Forest. So, one of those 2 methods. Normally, you'll be using crafting placeholders and not Wand of the Forest method, I think. Chances are, but... Okay, so... that stuff's in place. That's connected. Now what we need to do is we need to slot Eden fragments and Eden and Wildwood fragments, because we do need a place for these to be stored. So let's just say here is going to be good. That is fine. So we should see these in our Corporeal network now. No, which means our Corporeal is probably not running over to here at the moment. There we go. That is now all connected up. So you can see right here we've got Eden fragments and Wildwood fragments slotted in there. Okay, so then what we can do is, if I connect up this output routing node to our primary output system, which is this right over here, and we pop back over, we should see 16 Eden Souls have gone in here. Now what we're going to do, and this is not inputting because of the potentiometer. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move that input node. Right here will be fine. So then redstone gets pulled out. Beautiful. Okay, so the Eden Souls are coming over. Now what we need is, I want to get a red string lyre. This right here. I'm going to need Eye of the Ancients. I'm going to get some more mana steel made up real quick. But chances are we'll get to see the mana system kick on, maybe, for a quick, brief spell, if, I don't know, I think we'll have enough that we need crafted. Are you going to kick on? No, you're not. Okay. I guess we still have enough backup mana. Mana still doesn't take very much, so. Alright, so there is that. There is our red string lyre. Red string lyres are great because what they allow us to do is they allow us to lie to the Corporeal network and basically say we've got this even though we don't really have this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it right there. And then let's go ahead and just open this up a little bit here. And we're going to put a Corporeal Spark on top of this. And item frame here. And this is going to say that you have, we did Eden Souls? Yeah. So Eden Souls is what this chest has. Which right now technically it does, but basically it's going to tell the system that it's always got Eden Souls, no matter what's in it. So if there's Wildwood Souls, it's going to say, hey, there's Eden Souls in here, even though there's most definitely not Eden Souls in there. So I think that's the only one that's connected, yeah, so we can see this in action. And then what I want to do is, let's get a Redstone Comparator. So there's that. And this is just going to allow us to have this visible, you know, like how we have this one set up with just nodes. But I don't want nodes all over it. And it would take 5 nodes attached to this thing with redstone coming around. Whereas we can have it all attached to this mini chest. And it's basically going to link these two together, more or less. There's a couple other ways that we could do it. But this is just kind of one example of a way that we can use the red string lyre. Now, I believe, strange, the red string comparator is not showing it's a red string, but I'm assuming that it is connected. We can find out by just putting this down. It's not connecting. Strangely enough, it's not connecting to the mini chest. Yeah, it's not connecting. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch it for a normal chest. And actually, I'll tell you what. It might be worth it. We'll put the red string comparator up there instead. And then we're going to do the red string lyre over here. Oh, but it's picking up nodes now. Okay, so the red string lyre picks up nodes. The red string comparator ignores them, but also ignores mini chests. Interesting. Okay. Well, anyways, what we're going to do is, let's see, I may want to back this up by like 1 though. And then what we're going to do, we're going to run out a comparator here. And this is going to, see, that's all going to be visible. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna run some redstone conduit up here so that we can facade this. In just a moment. Let's go ahead and just run this up to here, and then I'm gonna run it through a repeater. And what we're going to do is we're going to have cobblestone here. We're going to have a redstone torch that comes out here. And, let's see. And then we're going to have a timer that sits right here. And we're going to have it set to 20 tick delay. Okay. And then that redstone comes through and you can see the timer is going to activate once every second. At this point. And then what we'll do is run that out. And this is where we're going to have facades, of course. That comes up and basically feeds into the corporeal funnel. And output on signal color red. Okay, so every time that ticks, the funnel is going to request a fragment. In this case, it's going to be Eden fragments. You can see these building up. And it's going to craft these once per second. Now, you could speed it up because you can see the crafting is extremely fast. So we could, if we wanted to, we could set this to, say, 10 ticks. Okay, and there we go. It's going to craft that quite a bit quicker. And, oh, you know what, though? I never put the item frame back on there. So I should do that. And I guess realistically, yeah, hold on just a second. I just thought of something that I wasn't thinking of before. It's going to keep requesting these. You can see it's already broken past the 2 stack mark. And so what we're going to do, the signal wasn't actually getting over here. I didn't think signal went down in insulated wire, but it seems like it does maybe. I was thinking insulated wire was like conduit. So it's going to dump in. It's probably out of wildwood souls at the moment, to be honest. Okay, if we take a look, yeah, there's 16 wildwood souls. Okay, great. Now what's happening right here is it's requesting Eden souls from that, and it's not, since it's all part of the same network. That's my bad. So what I need to do is, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a master corporeal spark that's going to set, just on any kind of inventory. We'll just put a mini chest that sets, say right here. And we'll right click that on. Okay, so we're just going to say this is magenta. It's not really going to matter because this is going to be such a small little sub-network that we've got going on that this will really be all that it affects is this one craft. Just making sure that it doesn't link to corporeal systems of the same color. So we're going to dye there we go. Corporeal spark. We're going to dye this magenta, and then we're going to dye the master spark magenta. And I never put one back on this. Whoops. And then we're going to dye that corporeal spark magenta. So that's really, I think, the only 3 that's going to be handled by this system, and that's so that it doesn't connect to the main system and it properly reads the Eden fragments that are here. Now, right now it's not connecting to these. Okay, I fixed it. I just had to remove the master spark for our main network and then reapply it, and that fixed it. Okay, so you can see that this one should be shutting off that network there. So it's not going to pump out any more of the souls. And then if we were to now reconnect this up, and it's outputting on the red channel, there we go. It's going to start crafting those wildwood fragments again and sending those back into the network. So you can see that they're going to start building up. And then whenever we want to add the other souls, all we have to do is add the corporeal crystal cubes, the red string comparators, and the item nodes that are feeding those in with the filters, and then it's going to craft, right? And that way we've got all five souls being stocked. Now right now there's not enough wildwood souls in the system to fill that, but there will be. But I think that's going to work out better for us than just crafting them on demand, because there's really not much use in us holding on to a lot of souls, but there is a lot more use for us holding on to a lot of fragments. So what I'll probably do is increase the capacity for these to, say, maybe a 10, and focus a lot of capacity upgrades into the Eden fragments instead of the souls. But I still have use for the souls, so I don't want to craft them all down, like the Cyclops eyes, you know. And of course it's crafting those other souls because it's seeing them, thanks to the red string lyre, it's seeing them all as Eden souls. Anything that goes in this chest, it's going to see as Eden souls. So for example, let's see, there is a mana steel nugget, isn't there? Yeah. So for example, if I was to throw in, say, mana steel, it's going to craft it into mana steel nuggets. Of course, there's no place for that to go, but we could expand on this by anything that we want to craft down, we can add to this and basically just expand off of this, which we'll get into that a little bit more. Anything we need to break down for nuggets, we will do that through this little system. Actually, I think... No, whenever we get into capacitors, we'll use this a bit more. Our conduits are going to be plugged up this way, but then we're going to have some other things that are fed over to this chest a little bit later. So, but I think that's probably the only thing that breaks down that we're going to have just kept crafted, like in stock. But we will be using that system for a lot more than just the souls. But that's just what we're using it for right this second. So that's why we kind of over-engineered it probably for the souls, because there's going to be other things running through that same crafter. And now next up, what we're going to do, I think the Eden arrows, since they're only used for the projectile bases, and it's not something that we're going to craft for personal use, we're going to actually have those crafted on site for the projectile bases. So we're going to skip those for just a second. Vitriol we've already got. The next thing is the large Bloodstone Tiles, which require this recipe here. Now I think, yeah, I don't have any redstone alloy at the moment. So let me get some of that crafted up real quick so we can set up our filters. I've got 45 silicon. I'm going to go ahead and craft all of this into redstone alloy, I do believe. And we're going to be automating out redstone alloy all of our alloys for the most part pretty soon. It's not too bad to craft them at the moment, but we're going to be getting that automated. So, alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have to get some more empty base, or some more corporeal sparks crafted out, because we're actually going to need quite a few for this. And we're going to be crafting these out, well, one at a time. Yeah, we'll craft these out one at a time. I don't know if it's something that I want to keep stocked, though. I feel like, yeah, I want to keep these stocked. Now I'm going to put a sign up here that just says souls plus general 1x1s on that crafty crate also. Okay, so for our Bloodstone Tiles, there's basically two steps to this. Setting up the main craft and then setting up for the redstone alloy blocks. And I could either do on-site compression or... Let's see, is this used for a lot? Yeah, quite a bit. So... Okay, so for metal compression, what we're going to do, we're going to hop down to the forge area. Now, technically, we could use compacting drawers. We could use a factorizer. There's a lot of different things that we could do for this, but that's all boring. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to use this wall here, and I think... I don't know if it's going to connect up to the corporeal system or not. We'll have to see. But what we're going to do, this will be kind of, I'll actually probably have to bring this back. Okay, I spent a little bit of time getting some stuff together for the rest of our crafting. So, or for a bit more of our crafting. This probably isn't going to be enough corporeal sparks for everything, but what we're going to do, this is where we're actually going to start using our retainers, our interceptors, and our funnels. Now, these are kind of the core of our corporeal system. What we're going to do is we're going to set up hoppers just right along here. These are going to be different metal compressions, and technically there'll be one more over here. And technically we could run this all through the same, like through one system, kind of like what we're doing up there with the souls, but metal compression, once we get into singularities, it's going to be something that we're going to want a lot of coming in, like rather quickly. So I'd rather have dedicated ones for this, I do believe. Most of our more elaborate crafts that we're going to be using a bit of, we're probably going to have dedicated crafts for. And then stuff that we don't necessarily need as much of and we can kind of toggle those recipes, we'll probably use frame tinkerers for those. So what we're going to do, we're going to set up our crafty crates, and it's going to be setting just right above our hopper. Then we're going to have a hopper on the back of this. And I want this because we're going to be sending a little bit extra of the metal, because we're going to be using 9 metal per craft, and there's not really a 9 setting for the item frame, unless you get really elaborate with like nodes. But there's really not much point in it. We'll just have it keep any excess in the crafty crate. That's not going to be any issue for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our funnel just directly on top of this. And as mentioned before, funnels will send their items either directly below, or I could put the funnel here and it would still hit the hopper, just an inventory down there. And right now I'm Alex because I have no internet connection at present. Good old Zito at work. But I think they're fixing the issue. Their internet's been dropping out really bad lately, but I can't really say too much with the whole Corona thing going on. A lot of people at home. I can't really say much in this situation, except just wait for them to get it sorted. Okay, so our Corporeal funnel, what we're going to do is we're going to put an item frame here. And we're going to put a redstone alloy ingot right there. Now, if you rotate this, like right now it's going to drop 1 redstone alloy ingot every time it gets a redstone signal. But we're going to set it up. So this would be, it drops 2, 4, 8, 16. And we're going to set it to 16 for the purposes of what we're doing for right now. So it's going to actually put 9 to the crafty crate. And then it's going to be left with 17 left over, or 7 left over. And if it can put that in the crafty, I mean, it will put that in the crafty crate, but then after, you know, on its second craft, it's going to craft 2 redstone alloy blocks whenever it's requested. So it's going to craft a little bit extra, but that's okay for us. You could make it a bit more exact by using more funnels, but I just want 1 funnel for this. If we have some left over, that's fine. And then we're going to put a Corporeal Interceptor on top of it. Now, this block right here, super handy, because if we were to put an item frame on this, and we're going to put a redstone alloy block on that. Okay, so what the interceptor does is anytime that anything within the Corporeal system requests a redstone alloy block, it's going to emit a redstone signal. If there's not a redstone alloy block already in the system. If there's a redstone alloy block in the system, then we'll get it, or whatever, we'll get it that requested it as per normal. But if there's not any of that, it's going to say, oh, wait a second, there's not one of these. I'm going to tell this funnel, in this case, I'm going to tell this funnel to drop. Basically, it's going to emit a redstone signal. And this is kind of what you can use for wireless redstone. Using Corporeal, we'll get a little bit more into that a bit later on. But basically, it emits a redstone signal all around it. And in this case, it's going to hit the Corporeal funnel, which will then request 9 redstone alloy. And we'll then send it down to the hopper, into the crafty crate, which drops down into this hopper. And then, what we're going to do is we're going to set a Corporeal retainer. I'll show you why, actually. Let me do that. And let me put a Corporeal spark on top of our interceptor. And let me put a Corporeal spark on top of our hopper. And I'll show you why we're setting it up the way that we are. What makes the retainer so handy. So we put that there. We put a Corporeal spark there. This should all be connected. Yeah, it's all connected. Okay, so for example, if I was to request redstone alloy block. We give it just a second here. You can see it crafted it, but it's just going to stay there. It's not going to do anything with it. And then you can see that there's some redstone alloy ingots left in there. Now if I was to come over here and I requested a redstone alloy block, I get it from the hopper. And it doesn't do anything here. But to prevent that, what we can do, I'm going to dump that redstone alloy back into the system. But what the retainer will do is anytime that a request is made and the interceptor intercepts it, so there's not that something in the system, then it's going to, the interceptor is going to send out a signal, right, a redstone signal to everything, but the retainer is going to see that the interceptor intercepted something, and it's going to hold on to that request. And it can only hold on to, of course, 1 request at a time. And then what happens is, if you read this with a comparator, it's going to emit a redstone signal saying this Corporeal retainer has a request. And it's going to store what that request is, what requested it, if it was another, if it was a funnel, or if it was us at an index, or, whatever. Whatever requested that, the retainer is going to hold on to that. And the retainer doesn't need a corporeal spark either, by the way. So just a heads up. But what we're going to do is we're going to run out some redstone alloy. No. Not quite like that. We're going to have... Can I... I'm not going to be able to place it right there. That's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to run out some redstone alloy conduit up into this corporeal retainer. And the other function of the corporeal retainer is that if it receives a redstone signal after it's received a request, you know, it holds on to that request. If it receives a redstone signal, then it's going to tell the interceptor, okay, tell whatever requested this item to request it again. Okay, and we can easily have it read whenever our redstone alloy blocks are done by just putting a comparator right there on the hopper. And we're going to say inputs red. Beautiful. Okay, so now if I was to request a redstone alloy block, there we go. We got a redstone alloy block. And there's a second one in there. Of course, that's because the overflow craft. And that's what the retainer does. So anytime that redstone alloy block is requested and it's not present, it's going to try and craft one. And right now, we're probably going to run out of redstone alloy ingot. We're going to be automating alloys in the next couple episodes. We've actually got a few episodes of automation in a row here for just like general automation, alloys, spreaders, things like that we'll be doing. And then I'll be doing some off camera, of course. But so yeah, so anytime that it needs a redstone alloy block, it requests it here. It's going to try to craft it. If it crafts it, then this retainer is going to get a redstone signal. So, and that's all there is to that. I think that's good. And then we'll just replicate that, you know, across the way here with different metals. And we'll probably need some more metal compression elsewhere. That's fine. We'll just set it up over here, or we could stagger it and have it kind of sitting upwards or on the walls. I don't know. There's a lot of things we could do here. So, but I think that's going to be good for us. Now, for the next thing, we're going to craft ourselves 3 corporeal crystal cubes. And this is where we're going to start getting into the spreaders, the actual spreaders. So spreaders require 3 different ingredients. They require weak blood shards, frozen stone, and redstone alloy block. So let me just grab a redstone alloy block. And this is all like the next morning, if you couldn't tell. Because I was getting tired after last night. Basically just tired of fighting with Zito, trying to get this internet sorted out. So I think is the big thing. So what we're going to do, I'm going to set this up. Honestly, I'm kind of thinking of having it over here because we've kind of got other blood magic stuff over here, and maybe just have our large bloodstone bricks over on this side. Yeah, and I tell you what, I need 1 more corporeal crystal cube actually. Because I think we're going to keep, large bloodstone bricks stocked. And the reason being, if you take a look at these, I mean, they're used in a lot of stuff. Thermometer doesn't really count, but our crystal clusters, which I know we use quite a few of those. We're going to need them for demon blood shards, which are used for a lot of things. We're going to need them for... if we tab through here, pretty much all of our bases, or not all of our bases, but a fair few of our bases, projectile, sunny, power, and tool base. Tool base we're going to be using a lot of. So we definitely want to keep these stocked. So what we're going to do, and I'll change this block for something weedwoodish. But we're going to go ahead and just put our crystal cube there, and we're going to make a red string comparator real quick. As you can tell, I love red string comparators. And this one will be setting right here, of course. And we're going to probably set this up to the 2 stacks. Of course, this does craft 2 at a time. But we're going to read it off the same potentiometer that is on the slates at the moment. So if it's equal to or above 8, which is, of course, 2 stacks, then it will... Probably shouldn't mess with that, to be honest. Okay, so this is going to pump out, and it's going to, let's see, how do we want to do this? We're going to put 3 more crystal cubes down, and let's see, let's get some AND gates. And what we're going to do is we're going to have the redstone torch come out here. So if this crystal cube has enough, if it has enough bloodstone tiles, then it will power off this redstone torch, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to have this come out just to a place where we have a little bit more space. So like right here, and we're going to set up a few crystal cubes. So we're going to have one here. And I can either do insulated cable or just do redstone. I think I'm just going to do redstone, to be honest, for right here. And so we're going to have comparator, comparator, comparator that reads out of these crystal cubes. And what they're going to be reading is, let me grab redstone alloy blocks. They're also going to be reading frozen stone, and they're going to be reading weak blood shards. Okay, so we're going to have an AND gate that sets, let's see, it's going to set right here. Let's go ahead and attach corporeal sparks here, here, here. Those are connected up. So you can see we have a decent amount of these different materials at the moment. And basically what we're going to be doing is checking to make sure that it has all the resources that it needs. Okay, so if there is a signal from here, which of course means that there's not enough redstone tiles, and then let me get out our screwdriver because we're going to need this. And we're also going to want our potentiometers. So I'm going to put these setting, well, this one doesn't need a potentiometer. This one is only going to read, does it have at least one redstone alloy block in there? That's all we need to know. So as long as the comparator is outputting a signal, then we're good. These, we're going to need to read, let's see, that would be 1, 2, 4. So let's make sure that there's at least 4 frozen stone and 4 weak blood shards in this. And then what we'll do is we'll just run, well, technically I could just do repeater here. Okay, so as long as there's at least 4 in this system, then it's going to let the redstone signal come out of that. So then what we'll do is, I'm going to need more AND gates. But let's go ahead and adjust this, and wrong button, shift right click, and we're going to say, we should see a line coming through here and a line coming through here with a line grayed out on this side is the one that we want. There we go. So you could say that this one's activated, and this one's just auto-activated for our AND gate. So it's going to say, if this is true and this is true, then send the signal on. Now technically we could do all this with 2 AND gates. That would work out fine. But we'll just read it out of here. Yeah, this should work. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and take this redstone conduit just so we don't lose the signal. Input redstone, because we're only checking really for a signal of 1 in this case. So we're going to say output is on the red. You can see it's got a power of 3 at the moment. I'm not really sure why it has a power of 3. I guess it has to do something with the redstone conduit, to be honest. And then what we're going to do is, I'm going to need 1 more AND gate. I need to get around to making just a big bulk craft of AND gates. But we're going to be automating, that's one thing that we're going to be starting here soon, is our cobblework stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an AND gate right here. And it's going to read from this side, this side, this side. And if all 3 of these are true, if basically it's checking to say, do we need large redstone bricks? Do we have 4 weak blood shards? Do we have 4 frozen stone? Do we have at least 1 redstone alloy block? And if so, then it's going to send out the craft. Now, if this is false, what we're going to do, technically you could shift this over and just have all 3 of these first things read through 1 AND gate, but using 2 AND gates is fine. I'll tell you what, we're going to move our Corporeal Crystal Cube to here. And then what we're going to do is put our Redstone Comparator coming out there. And we're going to have this feed into this AND gate. So if all of these are true, then it's going to send the signal onwards. Which right now this one's not true. Then if we... Then we're going to put one more AND gate that's going to set right here. And we're going to have... Yeah, that side's shut off. So we're going to have that set there. Redstone torch come out here. And we're just going to read off of this on two sides. Okay, so if this is true and this is true, which means that these are not going to be true, because we're going to run out redstone conduit right here, plug into there, and we're going to say output is on the red side, input's on the red side. Okay, so if not all three of these are true, and we get a signal, we have a signal coming through that wants to craft these, then what it's going to do is it's going to feed this into here. Redstone torch is here. And we're just going to have a timer right there. And this is basically checking if we're trying to craft and there's no redstone alloy blocks, because we're doing this all on request. And let me go ahead and just pop over, dump those redstone alloy blocks back in there, or redstone alloy ingots. What we're going to do is we're going to have a corporeal. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll just have a chest. Or a hopper. Hopper would work just as well. Let's do a hopper. Hopper that sets right here. And this is going to have a corporeal spark on it. And then we're going to have a corporeal funnel with a corporeal spark on it. And this is basically going to prep our craft, is what it's going to do. And then we're going to have... Now, if you have compacting drawers, you won't necessarily need all this. But like I said, I'm just not using compacting drawers. So it's going to request, here in just a second, the timer's going to go off. It's going to request from the funnel, and you can see that a redstone alloy block came in here. And it has now... Oh no, it's not reading off of this, so it's just requesting redstone alloy blocks right now. Okay, hold on. That'll work. Yeah. So this is going to now say, okay, there's redstone alloy blocks in the system, which of course have been requested to here, and it's going to shut off this torch. The conduit doesn't seem to work with that. And then it's going to activate the AND gate, basically telling it that this is not true, so it can't send the signal on to the redstone torch to start the timer. And we're going to set the timer to 20 ticks. So there we go. So it's going to request it pretty quickly. And we're in negative time right now. Alright, so anyways, now that's going to basically tell it to craft that so that this then becomes true. It can send the signal onwards. And then what we're going to do is, because that should be, I think, the only thing... That's the only thing, is if we were to run out of frozen... We should never run out of weak blood shards and frozen stone once the system's up and running. But that is something I may have to adjust down the road. I don't know for sure. I think it's going to be okay. And then what we're going to do is we are going to... If all this is true, what we're going to do is we're going to have... we're going to open this up. We're going to have our crafty crate setting... Okay, I'm going to run that redstone up, because when I ran it out, it was like, oh, whatever. What we're going to do, let's see. Crafty crate's going to set right here, so we can see that from the outside. And then we're going to have our hopper. This is a stocked recipe, so I'm not going to need to do a interceptor retainer system for this. So what we'll do is we'll just put our hopper setting here, and we're going to have input routing node that sets right here, and it's going to grab the items from this. And I will have to slot these because they're not presently slotted, but they'll just get slotted into our sorting system. And then what we're going to do is we are going to set up a few hoppers. And these are going to set here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can set this up. We're going to be doing a few within this series, but this is how we're going to set up the first one. And it's a fairly simple, I think, go-to for a lot of your crafts. We're going to do our corporeal funnels here, just on down through here. I'm going to make a few more, and I'm also going to make more corporeal sparks. So I told you I didn't think it would be enough. Alright, we are 4 funnels short. So we're just going to run this on back like so. And then we're going to take and set up our item frames. And when it comes to setting up crafts within Corporea, you'll need to be mindful of the order of things. Actually, I should probably just look up Bloodstone. So it's going to go weak blood shard, frozen stone, weak blood shard, frozen stone, redstone alloy, frozen stone, and so on. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put item frames. This is telling it what it's requesting. Like that. And then we're going to go weak blood shard, and then the other two are there. And then it's going to be frozen stone, frozen stone, and then we just need one of these, and we'll drop that in. Okay, now that's the recipe that we're actually crafting. And so what we're going to do, technically I can put it on the other side. I don't know if that would be preferable. Okay, so there we go. And then okay, and I need to get 9 corporeal sparks, so give me just a minute to get those crafted up, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I'm just finishing up these sparks. There we go. And oh, I ordered 8 Ender bottles. Okay, so we'll just go through and we're just going to right click these onto our corporeal funnels. So then whenever these get redstone, they're going to request these items. And then what we're going to do is we are going to, let me run this over. So we'll just run this out. Like so. It looks like it just tried to craft, or it's trying to craft at the moment. Yes, it didn't get all the frozen stone though. Why did it not get all the frozen stone? Actually, I think I know why it didn't work. And that's because I keep forgetting. I keep derping and forgetting that the Project Red Conduit does lose its redstone power over time. I keep thinking of it like a conduit where it doesn't lose that over time, but that's fine. What we're going to do, we still have something else we have to set up here. So if all of this is true, let's actually bring this up by 1. And we're going to put actually a block right here with a redstone torch on it, because I need to invert this. Go ahead. So if all this is true, then it's going to shut off this torch, which will otherwise... Oh, I think there's a trapdoor up there. And it activated it. Oh, that's going to be awkward. We'll have to adjust that. But we're going to put a timer here. And this timer is going to attempt to run once every 5 seconds. That's fine. And, well, let's actually boost that to, say, 200 ticks, just to be on the safe side. So, once every 10 seconds, it's going to try to craft this. We can adjust time later. Okay, so this should This should activate. There we go. It just ran through it, pulsed everything. Okay, and that time it crafted it. So it is working. I think it was something to do with when I timed it and I was still running cables or something. We'll have to give it some time and see, but I think that that's correct. That should be correct. And then it'll basically come back into this position. If it needs to craft redstone alloy blocks, it'll do so, and then it'll activate the timer and allow it to craft these. Now what I need to do, this is something I believe this is going to work great for us. If it doesn't, we'll come back and fix it. But I'm going to have to get the redstone alloy part automated first, I do believe. So we'll just slot in the large bloodstone tiles there so it can start building those up for us. But basically what it's doing is it's dropping all this stuff into the hopper and it's just sending it down. And since these hoppers are laid out like this, it kind of works as sort of an order system, because this one is going to go in here first. This one is going to go into this hopper then. It's going to prime the next in each slot every, operation for hoppers. And it's really as simple as that to automate. We're just going to have to get the redstone alloy blocks fully automated so that we can see if it has any issues or anything like that. I've only got 3 redstone alloy at the moment, and I need to run a bunch of sand. I'm half tempted just to get silicon seeds and be done with it. Over sag milling a bunch of sand. But we really need to set up our cobble works. We're going to be doing that in the next couple episodes. So, but I don't know. I might do seeds for stuff like silicon. That's basically just running it through an alloy smelter or a sag mill. So, but yeah, we'll see. Come next episode, we'll be able to see if this thing is running and kicking away like it should be. I think it will. I think there was just an issue there whenever I was plugging this up at first. Maybe it pinged and didn't have a full signal or something. And didn't quite get all the corporeal funnels at the same time. But basically every time these get a redstone signal, they request these items. And then they shift down into the crafty crate and craft it. And it checks everything. The only thing is we might adjust one thing here. Which is if we have issues with frozen stone keeping up, because right now it is going to be manual mine for that, and I don't want it just crafting a ton of redstone alloy blocks. So what I might do is include a corporeal crystal cube over here just to check if that's the issue. If it's not the issue, because right now it's just checking if all this stuff is wrong, then it tries to make that. Or if it doesn't have any of these things, if anything in here is missing, it tries to craft that, where it should really probably check the redstone alloy block. So I may add something for that. Just another crystal cube or otherwise. But yeah, so anyways, next episode, we're going to pick back up. Like I said, this will be a couple episodes, but we're going to go through kind of crafting something. Then I'll be doing a lot of crafting off camera and some on camera for our auto crafting systems. But as you can tell, they're a lot more work than just plugging up an interface, right? They're a whole lot more work. But we've pretty much got everything primed for all of this now. I mean, these are being made. These are being made. These, we just have to craft them together, which we're going to do that on site for the projectile bases. Basically, every time it crafts a projectile base, it's also going to craft 2 Eden arrows, which go into making that projectile base. There's really no reason to stock these or keep these separate, truth be told. So, and then we've got the empty bases to do, which this is being automated. This will be from our cobble works. We'll have to automate this, and we'll have to automate Invert, which comes in with our alloy automation. So we'll be getting into that. And that's like this kind of ties into our alloy automation. So we're going to be getting into that probably next episode, automating metals and things. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, as always, I'm still Alex here. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, I know Corporea is a whole lot different than AE2, and automating things is a lot more work. But Corporea is meant to, I've always thought of it as Corporea is there to kind of balance out. Because AE2 makes things way too easy, and you just automate everything. And it's like, automating through AE2 is kind of nonsensical. Just plug the stuff up and it's ready to go. And it's really hard to make a lot of errors with AE2, whereas Corporeal is a totally different thing. It involves a lot of thought setting things up and a lot of setup. As you can see, I need things checking to see if we have the required items and checking to see if we need the items, like for stocking, like for example these tiles. And then I need this whole redstone system here to basically craft one item. But it's a lot more fun to set this up than just dropping an interface a million times over and telling it how to craft this and that. And, you know, it's kind of boring. So, but Corporeal is a bit more fun. It's a little bit more effort, but I think that effort is balanced because auto crafting is so powerful in Minecraft. Really, in all truthfulness, it is, because the two big aspects, right, are mining and crafting, and in modded you generally don't have to do either of those things. But Corporeal does kind of balance that and makes you actually think about setups a bit more. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.